We are here with a video review of Ford v Ferrari.
I think that's a good way to start. I think it's a great way to start. Honestly, I reckon we go with...
If you like cars and you like sports, here's a movie about car sports.
No! So we're here to review Ford vs Ferrari, and I'm back, so it's Bailey vs Jay on this one, and yep, that's all I've got. Oh, I got one. Here we go. So we've checked out Ford v Ferrari, so let's put this review into manual or automatic, depending on what you drive.
You didn't have it.
That was great, that was gold.
Alright, I guess that's it then. I guess living with that.
Come on, you serve something up then. I think that's top bands. You've got
If you love cars and you love sports, here's a movie about car sports.
I actually don't mind that.
That's what I said.
Yeah, but you've never said it like that before. Without much gusto.
So, Ford v Ferrari, or Le Mans 66 in certain countries, is the new film from director James Mangold, who most recently did Logan, a movie that we were both massive fans of. This film stars Christian Bale, Matt Damon, Tracy Letts, Caitriona Balfe, Jon Bernthal, Noah Jupe, and Josh Lucas.
So the plot follows Carroll Shelby, played by Matt Damon, and Ken Miles, played by Christian Bale.
Shelby is approached by Ford to basically make a car that can compete with the Ferrari at the Le Mans race. Ferrari's been winning it the last couple of years in a row. Ford wants to get in on the action. So it's basically a story about how these guys, Carroll Shelby and Ken Miles, come together to build a car that can beat Ferrari, essentially. It's about Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, it's a racing car boxing film, really, is what it is.
Okay. And despite neither of us being car enthusiasts, we both liked this movie to different degrees. I think you liked it a little bit more than I did. But yeah, despite that, there was a lot to like about this.
Yeah, look, this film is a lot of fun. It's very hard for me not to like racing films because there's something so enthralling about watching cars go around a circuit, and that might sound sarcastic.
No, it actually is. There's something about, there's an oomph to it.
There is an oomph because there's stakes. And this film has a lot of stakes, and that's what I really enjoyed. And we also get the heart of these two characters. We've got Carroll Shelby, played by Matt Damon, and Ken Miles, played by Christian Bale, to great levels of detail.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the focus here is going to go on Christian Bale because he's the most flashy performance, and we'll get to that. But I feel like this might be some of Matt Damon's best work so far. It actually felt like he really embodied this character and really connected with the material, and he gives a very, very sincere performance, a performance that gets way more intricate and way more detailed and way more emotional as the film goes along.
Yeah, the film follows Christian Bale and his performance as Ken Miles. And look, it's Christian Bale. He's freaking ridiculous.
When is he ever not good?
The way he embodies characters and the way he completely transforms his body is just spectacular. And coming off the back of playing Dick Cheney, it's just like, how has this man gone from this to this?
An actual magician.
But you're right, both actors here really shine. They both create embodied characters with great accents, consistency, and have really kind of a really heartwarming center at both of their performances that, you know what, brought me to tears by the end of the film.
And I think what's most impressive is that in a film that's about these two, giant things versing each other, essentially, you've got these two giant performances that never felt like they're at odds with each other. It never felt like they were competing for screen time despite some of the conflicts between them. It actually felt like the actors were really effectively playing off each other and helping build each other's performances to be stronger, and I really appreciated that.
You can see they've got great chemistry together, and they're both very established actors, so they know how to carry a film like this. And so if you're going into this film for the racing, don't worry, there's plenty of it, and it's captured to perfection, whether it's the cinematography, the sound design, or the sound mixing in regards to actually how these races are composed and shown to you.
Sounds so... I love it.
It's brutal and it's beautiful, and honestly, the VFX here are stunning because you can't even tell what's going on. The fact that this race was done back in '66 and the way they even show it in different medias, whether it's like on a small TV and you've got other characters.
It just looks really authentic.
It's absolutely
believable the whole time.
And so if you're going into it for the racing's there. But if you're going into it for a film that has a beautiful heart and a great story at its center, you're going to get that too. And I think that's where this film really pulls it off and where James Mangold truly shines.
The film actually really deftly balances the fact that it's this fun movie about racing and going faster, going further, reaching higher and trying to do new and creative things, while also being a really emotional journey about what it is to be competitive. I think that's at the core level what this film kind of boils down to, what it is to be competitive, what it is to have that feeling of wanting to push yourself to be greater and to do great things, kind of contrasted with the toll it has on a person emotionally and the people that are around them emotionally. And I think that's the thing that, at least for me, the movie did the best.
Now, I've watched quite a few different racing films, and I grew up watching a lot of racing, whether it be with my dad or my granddad, and I've watched a lot of documentaries and a lot of kind of reality TV series that I might kind of regret now looking
There's some interesting ones on Australian TV.
Top Gear.
Oh no, that's actually kind of alright.
That's great. What I'm trying to say here is, having seen quite a fair bit, where racing films really succeed is where they find their heart. It's not about the race win. It's about what's left afterwards. And I think that's where this film kind of really shook me, because it found what it is to race for these drivers and matched it with the world that's going on around them. So by the end of the film, we kind of left with a bigger question, that it's not about the race win, it's not about who stands on the podium at the end, but it's about what it is to drive, what it is to race, what it is to actually feel like it means for a racer to be going at 250 k's an hour down a stretch, to be passing someone, for that feeling of pure freedom, for that feeling of pure ecstasy to be behind a race car, just like it is maybe for sports players when they're like lining up for a 100-meter sprint, or for actors when they're about to go onto a film. Much like it is in any sort of medium. So it clicks into that search for meaning, which for me, I really kind of attached to, and I thought there was a really beautiful poignant message by the end of the film.
I think what it expands on is the idea of, is it worth it? After all of that, all that goes into it, what is the cost and is it worth it? And I think the movie definitely hit some of its most profound moments in the final stretch, where that question kind of comes to the forefront. We've seen this experience along the way, all that has gone into it, and the questions it asks about, is it all at the end of the day? Is seeking that victory, seeking that win, seeking that moment of glory worth the cost along the way? And I think that was done really, really well. You definitely found that in the movie more than I did though, because for me, there is a weird thing with this movie being about Ford, the mega corporation, trying to obliterate the smaller kind of independent company. I understand that they were going through a transition out of independence at the time, but there is a weird thing here going, why should I be rooting for the corporation in the first place? It's easy to root for Carol and Ken because these two characters clearly have very personal motivations for this, but there is this overarching thing here with kind of the heads of Ford, the corporate side of things, wanting to obliterate a smaller company. And for me, that's a very, very bizarre thing to try to get behind. It almost feels like the movie was written by people that work for Ford as a promotional thing. So I'm not saying that that's what it is, that's just the feeling I got from a lot of it. That being said, it does definitely make a point of vilifying certain members of the Ford board at the time. And I will say, we got to get this out of here right now. Jon Bernthal actually has a lot to do for once, and it's different. We appreciate that. And Tracy Letts is just a gift to acting. As Henry Ford II, he was absolutely wonderful.
What I really admired about the way they kind of structured what happened with the Ford company is they kind of almost made caricatures out of the bigger characters like Henry Ford II. And by putting someone like Tracy Letts in there as well, he has a lot of fun with this character. And I guess for me, on the flip side of that, is where I kind of connected with it, is that sort of section I wasn't necessarily following, because I felt as though I was more on track with Ken Miles and Carol Shelby through this film. But I can kind of totally understand that. And I also can see that other people can clearly walk out of this film kind of going, yeah, didn't really kind of connect with the journey. And that's fair enough.
It has a handful of awkward moments. I was not always connected with the writing, but I must say it is a testament to just how good James Mangold is as a director, that he can overcome that and still mine so much drama and meaning out of those scenes. The photography, as we've said, was fantastic. The sound design was fantastic. The racing is done incredibly well. All of that's there. It's a technically really proficient movie, and it also has a lot to say.
And don't forget the score, because the score here is absolutely fantastic. It complements it all. It's once again, he reteams with Marco Beltrami along with another guy, Buck Sanders, and they just find a way to really
energy.
It just gets the film going.
And it's unique. It's a unique sounding score.
Anyway, if you were curious about Ford versus Ferrari, or you were kind of like on edge and you're like, I don't know if I want to see this or not, I could only kind of recommend it, because it is a really worthwhile film and you can walk away feeling both energized and also really kind of poignantly refreshed.
Look, if you like when cars go fast and people get a little bit furious, then this might be the movie for you. So those were our thoughts on Ford v Ferrari. Have you seen it yet?
Did you like it?
Did you hate it?
Did you like this video?
Of course you did.
Crave more banter?
If so, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel down there somewhere, as well as my other channel over there somewhere.
And you can check us out on Twitter and Instagram.
And if you really want to help support this channel, you can support on Patreon. Thank you to everyone doing that already. And
See you next time.
well, I'll see you next time. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep popping up.